The president is very focused on making our nation's capital the most beautiful capital in the world. We don't enjoy the same rights as American citizens, but we are the same as American citizens. Though the White House and the president's cabinet is to work with all of us about how unemployment, with the separations that they're making, will work for government workers.
Can you talk a little bit more about the aim of that group and then what prompted its formation?
Certainly the president has executive powers, and we've seen that he has issued a lot of executive orders. Some of them have been disputed. Some of them are being argued right now. But I think what the approach that we have taken with the White House is to identify those things that we share. What are our shared priorities? The president is very focused on making our nation's capital the most beautiful capital in the world. And it turns out that's our focus too. And in Washington, D.C., unlike some places, the federal government actually has a role in doing that, an oversized role in doing that.
For the, as you mentioned, thousands of federal workers who are losing their jobs right now in terms of things like unemployment rates, the job market.
So it's a huge impact to have people's jobs affected. And so our really focus is on making sure we're being supportive of our residents and calling on the government to not use a chainsaw, but figure out which jobs we need and which jobs we don't. And that can be done in a orderly way and in a humane way.
As his argument of why he needs to step in. Just yesterday, there was a bribery indictment of a former deputy director of ONSE.
So the discussion you've had about whether a president or a couple of members of Congress can take over our limited self-determination is because we don't enjoy the same rights as American citizens. But we are the same as American citizens. We pay taxes more than most, more per capita than any place in America. We're larger than 2 states. We're literally down the street from the Congress, but we have no representation. So the case that D.C. residents, not to tell you that your question wasn't the right question, but the question for us is how do we maintain the pathway to the 51st state? And why not? We're Americans, we pay taxes, we go to war, we have all of the responsibilities of citizenship, but we don't have all of the rights. And the unfortunate answer is it has come down to partisanship. And we don't regard D.C. being added as the 51st state as a partisan issue, but it is an issue of how to make our democracy more perfect. So in talking about home rule, what it means basically is that we elect local officials, we pass our laws, we have our own budget. That's sometimes a misconception out there in the world. We take care of ourselves, and we do so, as I said, and we give more to the federal government than we get back. And so making sure that we adhere to the principles that so many people believe in, the government should be closest to the people. That's why home rule is important to us. I think what we've seen hit our unemployment system is expected when there is a change of administration, especially when it's a different party. So that's what we're seeing right now. But we know that over the next months, more and more people will be impacted. Now, the thing that we will need the White House and the president's cabinet is to work with all of us about how unemployment, with the separations that they're making, will work for government workers.